Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. Welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be with y'all today. Good to see you, Brayherd. Good to see you, Ariam. Good to see you, Step Zero. Good to see you, Kit. Good to see you, Roxy. And Brayherd, congratulations. You have won the crown of Furstendom, a crown of figs, because today is Fig Tuesday, except your Fig Tuesday is next week. But anyway, don't worry about it. And Ariam, you got me thinking. First to call second, because Brayherd usually likes to say second in chat, unless he claims first. It's a crown of firstendom, so would it be a tiara of secondom? Also, the counting beyond step zero and down, I'm questioning, but that's normal for this chat. Hundred. Eating fig bar, does that count? Sure. Okay, so why is it Fig Tuesday? So if you look at the Gospels of Matthew and Mark, and you look at the events of what we now call Holy Week, the week leading up to Christ's um, uh, crucifixion and burial and resurrection, on this Tuesday, on Tuesday of that week, he curses a fig tree that had no fruit. So it has traditionally taken on the name Fig Tuesday because you have Palm Sunday, Holy Monday, Fig Tuesday, Spy Wednesday for when Judas actively betrayed Jesus and sold him out. Maundy Thursday, which is a title more typically used in the Protestant tradition, but not exclusively. Um, and then Good Friday, Holy Saturday, Easter Sunday. So, a circlet of thirddom. Well, there you go. Second should be more of a party hat? No, that's thirddom. Thirddom is the party hat. Hey, Quacksplat. Weren't figs not in season when this cursing happened? I don't know when figs are in season in that area and what kind of fig it was. I just know that it's called Fig Tuesday. So we'll be playing just kind of some random things today. We'll be wrapping up Yoshi's story. We'll see how long that takes us. After that, we may do some Kingdom Hearts 3 by playing around in like Gummi Space, or we might do Minecraft. I don't know. It's the last
The
the
French.
French. It's the last stream for 2 weeks, so I figure, let's just wrap some things up and have some fun. Again, Quacksplat, I don't know, because like fig trees, I had a fig tree in my backyard at one of the houses I lived at, and it had full leaves for a pretty good long while. Also, the leaves have like of that particular species of fig tree had like little hairs all over them, and it made me wonder why Adam and Eve thought that was a good idea to make clothing out of. Anyway, good to see you, Craig. Well, he still cursed it because metaphors. Anyway, before we dive in, we're going to have our last reading from Gaudi Mitzvahs. I figured we're going to jump straight to the end. We didn't get through the whole document, never thought we would. But I think that the end kind of provides a nice statement of hope. So this is paragraph 93. Mindful of the words of the Lord, by this all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Gospel of John, chapter 13. Christians can yearn for nothing more ardently than to serve the humanity of this age with an ever-growing generosity and success. Holding loyally to the gospel, enriched by its resources, and joining forces with all who love and practice justice, they have shouldered a weighty task here on earth, and they must render an account of it to him who will judge all humanity on the last day. To everyone who says, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but those who do the will of the Father and who purposefully put their hands to the work. It is the Father's will that we should recognize Christ in our brothers and sisters in the persons of all men and women and love them with an effective love in word and in deed, thus bearing witness to the truth. And it is his will that we should share with others the mystery of his heavenly love. In this way, humanity all over the world will awaken to a lively hope, the gift of the Holy Spirit, that they will one day be admitted to the haven of surpassing peace and happiness in their homeland, radiant with the glory of the Lord. Now to him who, by the power at work within us, is able to do far more abundantly than all we ask or think, to him be glory in the church and in Christ Jesus to all generations forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 3. So, ending the document, the law above all, the greatest love above all is the law of love, which you find in canon law, actually, and also repeatedly in scripture. And a rotida. Well, let me jump into the game. We'll do the rotida. So all throughout this week, the gospel passages are basically the Gospel of John sort of step by step through Holy Week. Not necessarily tied to the specific day, because like this one today, well, maybe it was Tuesday. Well, John's timing is a little different. Anyway, in this is a key line where Jesus says, "Where I'm going, you're not going to be able to follow me yet." Yet being a big operative word there. And John's like, or not John, Peter's like, "No, no, I'll follow you." And Jesus is like, "You're going to deny me, bro." But we do also know that Peter, that denial does not stay forever, as it were. Like, Peter does. Oh, lava. In the light of the resurrection, he gets it better, and he knows Christ and his love better. And as such, can live out his life of great holiness and missionary work. And so it is with us. We are transformed by the encounter with the risen Christ, the Christ who is crucified and buried and risen. Where's this flaming... He didn't spawn this time? There he is. I don't like auto-scrollers. That was so rude! Waiting at the airport. Well, safe flight. Get home safe. I have a feeling the Wi-Fi on the plane's going to be even spottier. Leopards must have it really hard. All their internet's spotty. Yeah, I'll see myself out. That you're leaving, that's fair. Boo! Boo that man! Wait a minute. This is a circle. We've been here. Oh, that's weird. That's kind of cool level design, actually. I don't think I'd ever noticed that. I'm not gonna go for the door. I bet there's nice bonuses behind the door, but you know what? My job is to get this baby somewhere else. Not to collect bonuses. Another auto-scroller, you say? To shreds, you say? That one Chomp Rock just stopped right on the pinnacle. I don't know how I did that. We did it. Go team. Oh, so I discovered a streamer this morning by the name of Evan Perp, who's a Catholic streamer, apparently. I had never heard of him, but probably because he's mostly a Fortnite player, but which isn't a judgment. It's just I do not pay attention to the Fortnite stuff. But it was so funny because people were saying Evan and chat, and he was reading their messages, and I was lurking, and I'm like, and it kept sort of stripping my mind and going, what? Is he talking to me? Okay, I see what I need to do to get in there. Make a little step. Love that genuine Super Nintendo slowdown. How? How did you get... No. Hey, Max. Welcome on in. Thank you for the raid. Did your game arrive? Raid to the max. To the maximum of what? No! No, 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 no. But also from the max. Oh. It's only died a little so far. Yeah, but... to the maximum of your effort. What a mood. Well, we don't have the stone there anymore, so we can't actually, do the thing. Which I need the stone so I can open that thing. Okay, cool. Cool game. Go, Yoshi, go. Go, Yoshi, go. No! No! What do you mean? Baby stealing ghost. So am I taking a break after this? Any games on the horizon? You know, I have not actually looked at a release schedule in a while, so I don't know what's coming out. I think I'm finally gonna on my trip. I'm finally gonna be East Nordics. I was inspired because I saw Chronicler playing it. I was like, oh yeah, I own that, and I've played 8 and 9. I should play 10. Hey, for the Christmas! Hey, have a blessed and wonderful Trism. You have a wonderful and beautiful Christmas. Go get them oils. No! Stop that! Okay, so that guy's just invincible forever. Cool. That should be easy. Are you saying it's like Kanye? You hope not? Well, you did say Yeezy. So which is it? Is it Yeezy or is it not Yeezy? Yee's not Yeezy. I don't know. Okay, so that's a cool loop, but so I need to... I would like at some point to actually try and play all of the Yeez series. They have 1 and 2 as kind of weird ports on the Switch. Because they were originally released for a Japanese home computer, kind of like the Atari not the Atari 2600. No, I guess kind of the Atari 2600, but like the, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Commodore 64, that kind of thing. Easy drops his new album. It's not easy being easy. Oh, I see numbers. Oh, that's cool. That was close. Okay, let's try this again. So 2. So I haven't really explored the 3 area. Big Tuesday, eh? It is. How you doing, Bacon? Four. Released on the PC-88. Yes, thank you. And like the title of the Switch port is like PC-88. It has a very weird title. Okay. 5. There was an arrow pointing up there. How am I supposed to get there? So I wonder if there's a way... Hey, Stella! This game as a kid. Yeah, it was a good one. I actually was talking to someone who he was really excited that this is what I was playing because it was super nostalgic for him. Because he played as a kid at summer camp on his Game Boy Advance, and I thought that was really cool. It was a really cool little connection. Morning, Darth, or afternoon, or evening. See, I wonder, there's a bubble, or not a bubble, a cloud up there. Is that kidding me? No. Because I don't think I spoke to you in person in New York City this weekend. At the DS version, used to touch heavily. Oh, fun. Never had a SNES growing up, so never actually played this game. If you have a Switch, you can play it on Nintendo Online. And then you get a rewind feature in case you make a mistake and you don't know what you're supposed to do. Okay, so there... Ooh, okay. Okay. I think I get it. So this is why there's the egg box here. Aha! I have solved your riddle game. Are you supposed to roll the bouncy thing? You can't roll the bouncy thing. If it's not one thing, it's another with this game. I need that key. There we go. Okay. So now I have the key. So now I have to go back. Try booting the NSO version, your Switch. Or they're not Nintendo approved. I make no comments for legal reasons, but NSO, can't confirm, works. Okay. Oh, that's so mean. I have to I'm glad I checked that, because I would have been devastated if I went down. Need a cop. Yeah, Super Metroid is fortunately a pretty easy one to get your hands on. It's only about $20. Which, for Super Nintendo, especially like big popular name like Metroid, pretty affordable, actually. Hear the call of Andronic, Mio, and Ein! I don't know what kind of music you're listening to, but I'm glad. $45? Oh, I've seen it at stores pretty consistently for $20 for a long time. Chrono Trigger. I'm happy I got Chrono Trigger for $100. There's a game store where I lived at the time, and there was no organization to that store. Like, it was just shelves of Super Nintendo games. And I saw about 3 unique copies of Chrono Trigger just all over this store. It's like, well, that's a choice. So I grabbed one of them. Yeah, you need to find better stores. I recommend Google. eBay. Especially if it's a reasonable price, but not, like, suspiciously cheap. No! Etsy actually has a couple of stores that sell used cartridges. Oh, price charting? Oh, interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. But no, I feel like stores I've seen it at, it was 20. Maybe it's gone up since I last looked around at it. Ah, there we go. I'm like, oh no, why did that one disappear? I needed that one. Chat, the game is out to get me. Keep moving. I feel like it's a good idea to stop up here because I can get all these eggs. No, no, no! I thought I was directly over the pivot point. No. Mistakes were made. Man, there's this crazy used game store in my college town. I have no idea if it's still there. I think it actually finally closed down. But it was, it was just chaotic, and everything was just kind of like... had a light layer of dirt on it. It was kind of gross, but they had basically anything you could ever want. You know what? I don't need those eggs. I do need that baby. Okay, I need to... It's keep moving, but the thing is that these red platforms... like, it's... my brain thinks it's a timer when I see it, but it's actually, like, how many presses you have left before it explodes. So long as you are standing on it... Oh, yeah, no, I'd say it was a smidge cheaper. But you did definitely walk out of there kind of feeling like, ugh, I need a shower. But there was like no rhyme or reason as to why things were where they were in the store. Because like next to the Super Nintendo was a bunch of romance movies on VHS. And next to the Super Nintendo, what was there? N64. Okay, well that makes sense. And what's next to that? PlayStation 3. Huh. Yup. These are all like incredibly out of sync with each other. Should have been PS1 next to SNES. Exactly. Nope. I regret that at that time I didn't buy a copy of Earthbound. I was a broke college student, so it's hard to justify it, but it was only 100 back then. Now that game's like 500. Earthbound is overrated. Ooh, spicy take from Step Zero. CIB for 100? Oh, dude. Well, I haven't actually played it a ton to really give a judgment, but you know, for the collector value, no, it's like I should be dead. Oh, and the game said, "Sure, here you go." Okay, I don't have anything that just gives me some one-ups. I don't know. I like collecting things. A little bit like a crow or a raven that way. Like finding random books that may not have, you know, it's not about the intrinsic dollar value, but like kind of the meaning and symbolism of it. You just found it mid. No, that's fair. It's just, that is a spicy take considering how supportive fans of that game are. It's like saying anything bad about Undertale. Yeah, I have Earthbound both on my SNES Mini and Switch Online, so like I have access to it. I just never got around to it. Ocarina of Time, yeah. Like, I get that a lot of folks like Ocarina of Time for the nostalgia factor of it. Which is valid. I hate those platforms. Having replayed it last year, I was actually pleasantly surprised at how well I thought it held up and how it felt. And it did innovate a lot for the franchise going to 3D. I do think others have done better. So, like, I think its historical value is merited, but, you know, it is good. But there are definitely some things that I was playing and I was like, oh, this has not aged well. But, you know, it was an era when we were still learning what camera control was, and even calling something a camera. Do I have to restart that section? Is that what's going on? Yeah, that's what's going on. Cool. Yeah, Majora's Mask is, man, what a weird game. Like, in so many ways. Because I didn't play it until it was on the 3DS. And I actually didn't ever beat it until last year. And that one just throws so much to the wind in such a great way. To be such a unique game and experience. I mean, a lot did build off of Ocarina, but, you know. Some days I'd rather have the thing that was better built, if that makes sense. You have the patience for Majora's Mask. That is a valid take. So restricted on oh, the crunch time. Okay. I was trying to figure out that sentence. No, I think you were funny. I didn't parse it. What? Oh. Okay. Cool. Later, nerds! Woo! We're on to the last level. I'm sure everything will go great and just fine. Hey, Mel. It'll be okay. Later, nerds, says the streamer. Playing a Super Nintendo game? Yeah. Nerds. None of these are one-ups. I don't care. Mel, how? How? 4 times in a row. I don't know how you do that. Okay, now I remember this level, honking. Divine Providence! Yep. And the colors of Holy Week are complicated. Okay, Sunday to Saturday, or Sunday to Sunday. Sunday's red. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are purple. Thursday is purple until the evening, and then it's white. Unless you're doing the Christmas on Thursday, and then that's white. Friday is red. And Saturday is purple until the Vigil, which is white. Wow, I struggled way more with that in college when I played this. Today is Low English Jello. I think that one comes after the resurrection. So good to see you, P. Tony. Hope you're having a good Holy Week. Hey, did you like getting to pick level in Super Mario World? Great! We're going to have randomized ones here. The Feast of St. Petoni. Yes, we'll have a special indulgence at the Feast of St. Petoni. Let me read this correctly again. Blorengish Jello. Donk. Donk. Blorengish Jello is the color for those who actually have ascension to be its own holy day of obligation. Don't move it to Sunday. Bro, I live in one of those dioceses. We wear white. Clearly just a mix of blue, orange, green, and yellow. Clearly. Sounds octarine. It's not a popular color. No, it sounds a little muddy, to be honest. No, why? Why would you... I like the hollow donk noise it makes. Your tailor refuses. Yenza. Yenza. If you can get a Blorengish Jello tie, I think you should. Why? To vex you, of course. I don't think it was to vex me personally. Very little in this world is designed to vex me personally. I don't think Tayloress is a word, actually. I believe the proper term there is seamstress. Oh, look, all those red coins, I don't care. This is the most cursed nursery I've ever seen. And yes, that's exactly what... This is Bowser's nursery as a baby. Tailoress, dressmaker, and seamstress are all allowable. Oh, okay. I did not know that. I thought tailoress was not a real word. I apologize. Oh, come on. That was... Also, you like how there wasn't a save point after that section? No, you've never seen Child's Play. I don't think Child's Play has a nursery. I think the child's a little older in that, but, I've never seen it either, so... Coming back to me, baby Mario! Now that I've alienated all Italians in my chat. The biggest red door. Get ready for some Mode 7.
You're not welcome here. Yoshi, please hand over the baby.
That is not Bowser Jr., by the way. That is...
Oh dear, what to do, young Master Bowser wakes.
Gimmick, it's too noisy in here. I want to go sleepy, boy.
That was rude. Spoiled brat.
What kind of queen dog is that? Looks like fun. You want to ride? Mine, mine.
Okay. Stomping on him does nothing. Eggs do nothing, unless... I thought I hit the egg fire button. Nope. That sounds like a male version of Bart Simpson. Yeah. Look, I may provide a lot of voice acting. It doesn't mean I'm good at it. What am I supposed to do? I can stall for time. Remember, this part step was to blow the cartridge. No, that lets moisture in. It's actually a bad idea for them. Okay, so I'm out of eggs. And there's no way to get more eggs as far as I can tell, so that's not what I'm supposed to do. Wait, hold on. That was doing things. I don't remember what I'm supposed to do. Well, that's not what I'm supposed to do. I'm sorry. No.
Need the baby.
Survive long enough, Bowser Jr. dies in your underflow. Well, 2 problems to that. 1, I don't think that's winning. 2, this isn't Bowser Jr. This is just Bowser.
Get your lore right. Come on.
Aha! I'm having ideas! I was like, wait, what if I tried? Look, Chad, eventually I got there. Okay, so that's why stunning him with an egg is a good idea. I caught you. Yeah. Peter Tony, known for his love of Nintendo and Nintendo games. You know, when I think of P. Tony's childhood, which is weird, I think of all the Super Nintendo games he and his family used to play.
Yoshi, why did you do this? Young master, let me help you here!
Oh yeah, lots of JRPGs, yep. Peter the Tony. I don't like JRPGs. Peter the Tony. I like Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Which, to be fair, it's not a JRPG. It's a French JRPG. FJRPG. For JRPG. Ah, Mode 7. The most powerful of modes. I think you'd probably actually like a good number of JRPGs. Okay, the aiming here is weird. What? Oh, yeah. I forgot how weird this section is in terms of aiming. So you have to, like, arc your throw up based on his distance. It's not terribly clear. What if JRPGs had more factory automation in them, Peter? Would you play them then? You probably would. No! Ah. Dang it. It was going so well until it wasn't. Ah. The timing on this is weird. And I think you have to be, you can't be right next to him. It won't work. potential mixed genres is very difficult. Yeah. That's probably why my factory sim and family sim, like The Sims, just never really took off. Get tired of random battles? That's valid. They can be very tiring. That's why I appreciate some of the, like, not HD remakes, but, like, HD re-releases where they, give you the option of pressing buttons to turn off random battles, because it's like, sometimes I just want to go to this town, and I don't want to deal with the battles, especially because they're low-level enemies. I'm firing too low. There we go. Pop him on the nose. You have been very naughty, Bowser. You called Yoshi a donkey. He is not, in fact, making waffles in the morning. Ooh, that was way too low. Oh yeah, random battles during puzzles is very obnoxious. Okay, gotta watch where these are falling. Like that? Way too low. Consarn it. It was right there, too. I just barely missed that platform. Yep. You know, it'd be a really weird game combination. Cooking sim like Cooking Mama, and boomer shooter like Doom. Yeah, the RPGs let you pick which battles are nice. And I do like a little bit of a surprise in that I generally do prefer things like Chrono Trigger and Cars. You really do, you know, you can see the enemies and you're like, okay, cool, I know that I'm about to have a fight, not necessarily what you're gonna fight. But occasionally it's still nice to have the occasional random thing pop out of a bush and attack you. Last time I was aiming too low, now I'm aiming too high. What? Where did that thing come from? What? I just spun off the side for no reason. Like, I was standing back up and Yoshi decided to slip off. This is a great boss theme. I mean, it's classic 90s power metal. It's so over the top, but it's so perfect. Like that! Like, y'all saw that, right? Like, I wasn't even touching the controller, and Yoshi was like, I'll get up. Ah, never mind. Yes, I'd like to continue. Okay, we're gonna take a quick bio break. I need a breather. I need a breather and a bio break. We'll be back real quick. So, don't go anywhere. There we go. The pause button wasn't working. Welcome back. And unfortunately, we have to replay the whole level to get there, so we have to redo this section. And then we have to do a door, and we don't know which door we have to do, so maybe it's easier, maybe it's harder. No, no, no! Dang it, I screwed up. This helicopter section is annoying, I think, actually. There's a lot of memorize the thing. We can have differing opinions on the internet? No. That's verboten. Father Evan hates memorizing things. I mean, in game design, yeah, actually. In real life, I can do it. It depends on the thing. I've memorized the prayer of absolution just fine. This way. What? Whoa. Long, boys. I don't know what that was, and I don't know if I want to know. Oh boy, this boss fight again. It's my favorite. Y'all know how much I love fighting this boss. Hey, one and only, thank you for the lurk. God bless you too. Looks tasty. I mean, this looks like flan. Can we make this boss fight a channel? No! I don't know how I'd even do that. Like, the hardest part of this boss is just that it's time-consuming. Like, he literally can't hurt you. You have a potentially dumb question? Aw, it's all good. You have a great question. What is it? Torment everyone with an annoying boss fight. Yeah. Icarus. Is there a reason that Chrism Mass is today versus any other time of the year? Ah, good question. So the Chrism Mass is traditionally celebrated on Holy Thursday, actually, due to the sizes of dioceses and wanting people to be able to attend, particularly the priests. It often gets moved to Tuesday of Holy Week, but it is very much tied to Holy Week, just kind of both in practice and in a lot of the symbolism. That this is an act of the church receiving the oils for the year. And it's also an act, there's also the renewal of priestly vows, or promises technically, canonically, but that are done at that Mass, because Holy Thursday is looked at as kind of the foundational day of the priesthood, as it's Christ instituting the Eucharist, and thereby instituting his apostles to be the priests to preside at the Eucharist. And so the two get intertwined. Can make a save state. This is on original hardware. If you can show me how to make a save state on original hardware without any additional components, because there are external components that you can buy that would do that. But if you can show me, by all means. Thursday's really yeah, it's moved to Tuesday. Just because, like, especially because the bishop rightly wants his priest. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that. Wants his priest to be able to participate. But also, it requires them to go celebrate Holy Thursday in their parishes. And so in some dioceses that are geographically larger, it's not physically feasible. Man with no name, welcome on in. Thank you for the follow. Oh, it's this one. This is actually good. This look at how many coins this is. To see how to make a save state, check the enclosed instruction manual. Oh, Philip CDI. Truly a gift of the ages. Okay, so 4 is the easy one. Oh my goodness. Because that just gave us 5 1-ups. I mean, YTPs just wouldn't be a thing without Philips CDI, really. No. If you stay close enough, Kamek will disappear. Yeah. K-Max, have you played Arzette and the Jewel of Faramore? I think you'd enjoy it on multiple levels. I don't know why I'm bothering with eggs. It's not like you need them in this fight anyway. So you only need the big eggs, and you get the big eggs in the fight. Okay, I did not see where you came from. Feel pretty sick? Oh no! I'm sorry to hear that. Prayers, they feel better soon. But thank you for the lurk. What if I don't hand over the baby? Cruises have their downsides. Yeah, they can. I hope you had a good time, though. What line were you on? Yeah, Concrete I feel is particularly bad, though, because you get a certain sampling of the nerd population who do not understand what a shower is. Sat by the beach, ready to battle. Nice. I'm glad you had a good time. Norwegian, oh cool. What's a deodorant? I don't know, what's a deodorant with you? on sandbox. Yeah. Well, this is why, in my experience, I've always seen them at the start of the buffet with the hand sanitizer. And on some ships, that is not an option when you are presented with it. People stubborn on a cruise? Never. Okay. Oops, too early. Ah. Oh, that's unfortunate. I mean, not a bad thing to be known for, but it's just kind of like... a little too low. Where's my next egg? Why are no eggs spawning? Give me an egg. It's way too high. Man, I cannot aim worth buckets at this one. Well, I have enjoyed being the chaplain aboard ships. And one of my favorite things is actually to get to do Mass with the crew. On one of the ships I was on, there was like there was an officer who was Catholic, who was kind of like a sort of leader to the other Catholics and like help them organize prayer events and things for special days. He showed me the altar they set up for St. Francis Xavier Day. Attack on Titan Bowser. Get into Bowser Mario. Or Rhea Ayanami's gonna have to do it. Is gonna have to pilot it again. No, I forgot about that portion. Oh. Yeah, no, a lot of crew often is Catholic, especially like Filipino Catholic and Indian Catholic. It's really cool to get to be with them. For years, used to work as an audio engineer. Oh, cool. Actually, a friend of mine used to work in production design on a ship. Fly me to the moon, we skip the creepy scene. You're gonna have to be more specific with Evangelion. Old Cathedral in Cozumel. Oh, Iglesia de San Miguel. Yeah, that's a cool one. I've seen pictures. I've never been, but I've seen pictures. Yeah, when he comes charging at you like that, you have to hit him or else you lose. Ooh, rosary of dried crushed roses. That sounds beautiful. It is so hard to judge distance in this. Don't mind me, Chad. I just kind of have to lock in a little bit. Okay. Let's bring down the house. I need an egg. I need an egg! I think we did it! We did it! We did it! Smell like rose for a very long time. Yeah. Not forever, but pretty long time. An apple and egg in these trying times.
How dare you? It's not fair. You're such a meanie. Someday we will be back. You'll see. Ah!
It's an origin story. Hey, we found Luigi. Let's go. Are you gonna rescue the stork? Are you just gonna leave him there? Thus, due to marvelous teamwork of the Yoshi clan, and the twins are reunited. The captured stork is freed by Yoshi, oh thank goodness, and set about his duty, and finally makes the long-awaited delivery to Mr. and Mrs. Mario. Thank you, Yoshi. The twins will meet the parents soon. First name Mario, last name Mario. Your name is Mario? And his name's Luigi Mario? So Mario canonically has parents. Yay! Third brother, Dr. Mario. First name, Doctor. We did it! And the stork goes flying away. Good job, team. Good job, team. Okay. Let's switch gears here. And we're going to play Kingdom Hearts. So I got to boot the computer. Fantastic game. It is. It is. And deceptively hard. Because it's like, it's Yoshi. Oh, this baby. It's all so cute. How hard could it be? Also, I have good news about Kingdom Hearts 3. Well, about Kingdom Hearts 4, it'll eventually. Sephiroth shows up just to ruin your day. I've been playing through Final Fantasy VII Remake. It sounds like it seems like he just shows up to say hi to Cloud a bunch. I don't know what the problem is. Anyway, so the good news is that the autosave feature drops us off right where we were in Port Royal. So we're gonna collect crabs really quickly, and then we're gonna go hang out in Gummi Space and explore and do things there, so I can get more experience and whatnot to get us ready for the end game. Yeah, Sephiroth is super chill. It's what the S in Sephiroth stands for. Super chill Sephiroth.
We should leave no Port Royal stone unturned.
What's everybody yet tonight?
Crabs. Crabs. So many crabs. Have yet to actually beat Cage 3. The late game's fun. The story makes no sense.
Sora, ready? Here goes. Oh.
S stands for Surtur. Surtur Sephiroth? Sorry, I'm mispronouncing it. It's really Sephiroth is how you're supposed to pronounce that, I believe. You guys don't have crabs to give me, so I don't know why I'm fighting you. Other than the experience, I guess. Sephiroth gets clapped on by Mario.
Back off! Try
Chomp, 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 chomp. We'll use this Keyblade for a bit. Why not?
I think I see something on the roof.
Yes, Goofy, it's called a chimney.
The crabs are getting away.
This might be a good spot for ingredients. Mary Poppins World Wed. That could be fun. Hang out with the penguins. What a suspiciously shaped pile of crabs.
Back off! Watch where you're going!
Make me.
This might be a good spot to find some ingredients.
Really, Donald, would it now? Are we paying for these ingredients, or are we just taking them? Donald, master thief. Ah, yes, crab game. Yeah. But we need the crabs later to level up the ship we have. That's a sentence I just said. You want to be more specific about where you see said lucky emblem? Yes, if you consume it, it's real. I would hate it then. I think some of the swimming is actually really fun, like the reefs you get to see.
Ship should arrive any day.
But crabs are not ingredients. Crab soup, crab cakes.
I want to cook them.
Yeah, but they're fragmentations of the soul of Tia Dalma, which already has weird ramifications. I do mean. But I thought you hadn't seen the movie Smell. Or was that someone else in chat?
I'd venture that's nearly enough.
Yeah, nearly. 200 out of 300, Jack.
Sora! Over here! I found some!
Yeah.
I bet you there's a lucky emblem here.
You know, there is, and I don't remember where it is. And it's also very dark in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm insanely curious. Ah, okay. You know what? That's a mood.
Yeah. Ha. Whoa. Whoa. Ha.
What's up, gentlemen? Don't mind me. Just... No, I'm here for crab.
Yeah. Back off. Yeah.
Oh, I've never looked at these Heartless up close. They're disturbing.
Back off. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, we have enough crab now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. It was great to see you, gentlemen. We're gonna leave now.
We should get around.
Really, Donald? There are Heartless fighting us right now, and you're like, oh, we should look around. Don't know why she didn't show up for Davey. Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, you have crabs in your cannons. You should fix that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like the fight theme of this world.
Yeah.
Why can I not Trinity Sled? There we go.
Here goes!
I should look around for a speech therapist. For Goofy, Donald, or me? Never addressed if she returned the affection. Oh, especially not this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But why would you let me go up there? Whatever. We're going back to port. Leaving you gents alone.
Yeah.
Taking out my frustration on crab. That boosts your ego, but your speech is better than Donald's. Oh, don't worry. That doesn't really boost my ego.
You won't catch me down
Whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Yeah.
Hello? Hello, I have enough crab?
Yeah.
I have enough crab to fix ship?
I reckon this one's next on the list.
Yeah.
Return to your ship at the docks. I have. Oh, I have to board it that way. That's where the contextual button is.
Aye, that's all of them. Now, to my final task. Be back in a trice. There, mates. Fit to sail any sea. Now, Sora, one final inquiry. Is there any particular reason you wanted this ship?
Oh, we wanted us ship. You took a really long time to process
Yeah.
that, Sora.
To explore the seas. Free as the wind.
Good answer. You are a pirate. Captain Sora.
Yar har fiddle-dee-dee, you are a pirate.
But Jack, why do you keep saying final? Like you're leaving.
Ah, it's because this me has run his course, mate.
This you?
Aye, the surrogate me that the goddess of the sea sent here to help you lot. Of course, any me is still me. I may be duplicatable, but I'm always incomparable. The sea, she smiles upon us, Sora, and let's leave it at that, shall we? For now, the real me has a crucial engagement. At Shipwreck Cove, where the pirate brethren will meet Beckett and his lot in battle to win back our freedom.
Then let us help.
No, it's for pirates to resolve, but not you, Sora. You're as free as the wind now, and far you'll go.
Oh,
Well, why did we use those crabs?
So, Jack was showing us the way.
Even if you did get tricked. Gah.
Jack. He said it was the pirates' battle to fight. But a fight for pirates is a fight for us! Come on, let's find the real Jack.
Yeah, no, it's an impersonator. Kingdom Hearts may have a big budget. I don't know if it has that big of a budget. Are we gonna get to go to Gummi Space?
You made a deal with me, Jack, to deliver the pirates. And here they are. Don't be bashful. Step up. Claim your reward.
Sparrow, your debt to me is still to be satisfied. 100 years in servitude aboard the Dutchman. As a start.
That debt was paid, mate.
An evil man. He
You
sounds British. I
escaped.
know, the worst.
I propose an exchange. Will leaves with us, and you can take Jack.
If you haven't
Done.
seen the movies, this scene
I'm
makes
done.
no sense. Even if
Done.
you have seen the
Jack's
movies,
one of the 9 pirate
it
lords.
hasn't made a ton
you
of sense.
have no right.
King,
As you command, your nips.
Scurvy blackguard!
Easy there, mate. You wouldn't want to damage the leverage now, would you?
Now,
Like, why is this happening? He made a deal to have his debt paid off, but now it isn't. You've never seen the third movie? It had some cool action sequences. Like, there's a final fight in a whirlpool
advise
that has
your
both
brethren.
naval and
You can fight, and all of you will die,
close combat.
or you cannot fight, in which case only most of you will die.
We will fight. And you will die.
Pro tips for sanity: never ask why in Kingdom Hearts. Oh, that's what I've been doing wrong. I just wanted to get to a save point so I could go to Gummi Space. Yes, you can get more crabs. Power up your ship.
Are ya ready to give 2 teeny ships?
Oh boy, I have teeny ship data. Let's get this treasure sphere up here. And we'll embark from here, I guess. Ooh, look, there's a purple crystal there. It always makes me think of the dark crystal. Hey, dear Hope. Be pretty good. We beat Yoshi's Island. Now we're just chilling, doing some Gummi ship leveling and collecting. What's next after Kingdom Hearts 3? Well, since it's a not Kingdom Hearts game, we'll put it up to a vote, I guess, like I've been doing on the Discord. Got a couple Final Fantasies. I was going through the list today. I added some things. I don't remember what. And I scheduled everything out through June. Did we finish DK64? Oh no, that was just for the bonus stream. That was just a fun, silly one-off. No, if I were to actually try and play that game, I would totally need a guide. Gameship sections 3 look slightly more coherent. They do. Although I still like 2's the most. Just when I hear the DK rap. You heard that plenty. Oh, whoops. I don't know why I thought that was the fire button. He's finally back. Something, something, kick some tail. I forget how the DK rap goes. DK rap karaoke. What if I do it in the style that I did Let It Go from yesterday? He's finally back to kick some tail? The 3-hour version of DK rap will allow, but only because it's still wet. Oh look, it's a constellation.
Let's see.
Very indulgence.
Let's see. Yes!
Oh, that's a swirly void. That looks like danger. Nix is telling me that I must update my browser. Will this close my browser? I mean, yes, probably. Okay, it didn't. What browser are you using on Linux? I mean, you have so many options. You've heard Linux handles updates differently. Well, it handles game shows differently. This is up for your anniversary. A public service announcement is an interesting gift for your wife. Money. I don't need money. I need XP. I need the orange ones. Let's fight this thing. It's level 1. Airplane letters, if not PSA. What? Now I'm even more confused. You bought her skywriting? I guess that's a romantic gesture. I said goodbye to all my points. I don't know, but the points all might. I don't know, anything could be in the points hole. You have redeemed the points hole! Congratulations! Your points, they have gone in the hole. Where they have gone, we do not know, but they are now in the hole. Congratulations, you cannot retrieve your points from the points hole because now the points are in the points hole. Can I get a refund for the points hole? No, you didn't even buy the points hole. What if I jump into the points hole? For legal reasons, we do not recommend that you jump into the points hole. Now. has half a health bar left. You can't see it because it's behind my head. I wish if I had 100 viewers a day, I'd have what's my purple checkmark status. I've never had that many viewers, and I'm okay with that because I already have great viewers. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind growing to that point as an opportunity to evangelize and share the gospel, but you know. Oh, we're so close. We're so close to level 29. You can't even see it. It's behind my head. Hey, we did it. We're level 29. Okay. Oh, right. This zone map doesn't show you all the interesting stuff. No, we're in this fight now. Come on, I just need 2 more. There we go. Is a cannonball with a single N what you do when you dive headfirst into Canon Lost Studies? Bonk. I have a lot of these blueprint fragments now. I wonder if I actually have a complete ship. Check. So we can warp to this point, begin voyage. Oh, nope, that takes us out. Never mind. Nope. So we'll embark from there. Nope, no. Okay. I hadn't seen that design before. The Red Nocturne looks great. It has no power, though. So, yeah, I may have to do a little bit more. Off-camera work. But that'll be a problem for post-Easter, post-trip. And that's where we're going to have to call it for today. So thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Join us again in 2 weeks from tomorrow, April 15th. That's when I'll be back, the Ides of April. So thank you very much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be nice. Yeah. So when we come back, it'll be Wednesday, so it'll be Minecraft. Thursday, I don't remember where. So we'll find out together. Yes, and I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed Triduum and Easter. May you experience great joy in the celebration of the resurrection of our Lord. I hope it is a great weekend for everyone. Go to the Triduum services if you're able. They are absolutely beautiful. I think that's everything. So thank you to everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, given bits, all that good jazz. Thank you for checking out the YouTube and the Discord. And I'll be praying for you during this Triduum time. Yeah, I'll be less active on the Discord while I'm traveling. Not completely, but probably less active. So yeah, so I think that's everything. So let's see who's live that we can raid into. I'm going to send you over to Jate. He's doing a subathon. Go give him some support. Add to his clock. He's up to 49 hours. My goodness. That's a lot of hours. Raid call is either Father Raid or Fig Raid. It's Fig Tuesday. I think that'd be funny, and no one over there would get it. Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day, a great weekend, a happy and wonderful and blessed Easter, and a blessed Triduum. Take care. God bless.